When we last visited John Reynolds of Green Good, he was thinking about how sampling works. How he would sample for his research depends on the method he is using. In this video, we will look at conducting qualitative research. Specifically, we will take a closer look at 1. Advantages and disadvantages that John should consider, 2. How he would draw a sample for qualitative research, and 3. How he would implement two types of methods, interviews and focus groups. Determining the right method is part of step 4, and collecting data is part of step 5. John has 3 research questions that he will investigate through his methods. They are: 1. What are the characteristics of members and outdoor sports enthusiasts who are interested in attending the film festival? 2. How do members and outdoor sports enthusiasts respond to messages in the promotional materials? And 3. Which media do members and outdoor sports enthusiasts use to get information? The first research question would be best investigated with a quantitative method that would give him counts that he could use to report statistics. But the second and third questions could be investigated with qualitative methods. In particular, John thinks holding focus groups might be a good way to get information from his members and from outdoor sports enthusiasts. John needs to consider the advantages and disadvantages that qualitative methods bring. By using qualitative methods, such as focus groups or interviews, John would receive greater breadth and depth in the responses from his participants. He would learn more about how his members and outdoor sports enthusiasts perceive his organization and the messages that they receive from Green Good. He would also be able to probe for more information, particularly if something unusual comes up during the conversation. On the other hand, John would not be able to generalize any of his results to his population. That means he wouldn't be confident that what he finds through his qualitative methods would reflect the feelings and beliefs of other members or sports enthusiasts. If that is important to him, then he would want to conduct quantitative research. The other thing that John needs to keep an eye on is courtesy bias. This happens when participants try to figure out what the interviewer wants to hear and then answers questions in a way that would please him or her. John doesn't want that. He wants to know what people really think, so he will reassure his participants that they are free to express their true feelings, that, in fact, he would be most grateful if they did. John doesn't have the time or money to conduct both focus groups and interviews, so he needs to decide which one makes the most sense for him. As he considers the two methods, he knows that he can talk to more people in a shorter time frame if he uses a focus group. But he will be able to go more in depth with each person if he holds interviews. Both methods will allow a good deal of depth and breadth, though. He knows that courtesy bias and the lack of generalization are issues for both methods. He also knows that in focus groups, there is a danger that some participants might dominate and others will not participate. But in the end, he decides to go with focus groups because one of the key advantages of focus groups, it often leads to serendipity and spontaneity in responses. When one participant brings up an idea or belief, others respond to it, and that can lead to interesting insights that may not happen in interviews. These spontaneous interactions can be very helpful in prompting other participants. Because the topic John will be discussing with his participants isn't sensitive, he is looking forward to hearing how people feel about his organization and his communication materials, and he believes that once the groups start talking, they will offer valuable insights. Moving to step 5 in the research process, John will begin implementing his method and collecting data. He starts by recruiting his participants for his focus group. He will hold more than one focus group for 2 reasons. First, it would be best to hold separate groups for members and for outdoor sports enthusiasts, because they are different audiences. And second, in order to increase the trust and credibility of the findings, he needs to see if he gets similar feedback from multiple focus groups. During the focus groups, John works from a moderator's guide and asks open-ended questions. He makes sure that everyone participates, and he uses verbal cues to keep dominant personalities from overshadowing others. John prepared a number of prompts that he can use if participants get stumped on a question. John sets up a video camera to tape the focus group, and he has asked someone at Green Good to sit in and take notes as well, in case the recorder doesn't work for some reason. When he finishes a focus group, he will transcribe it and begin his analysis. He will use his transcripts in his data analysis. John also took notes during the session, so he could later remember what he perceived as the most important topics and information emerging from the discussion. In the end, John conducts 6 focus groups, 3 with members and 3 with outdoor sports enthusiasts. He noticed that some of the information he heard in the second focus group with members was different from what he heard in the first one, so he conducted a third just to be sure that he had hit the saturation point, meaning there were no new insights that he could learn from collecting more qualitative data. The same happened with the outdoor sports enthusiasts, so he conducted 3 focus groups with that group as well. Once the sessions are transcribed, John is ready to start his qualitative data analysis. In the next video, we will see how John works with the data to glean insights that he can use to better communicate with his audiences.